All right, we're back, better than ever. This is the Vice City FC podcast, part of the Lemon City Live podcast network. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. It's Monday night. That means it's Vice City. That means we got Chavi, we got Inter Miami, we got some Messi talk. We haven't done it in we skipped a week last week. We like every good team, you have to take a bye week every once in a while, recharge, regroup, but unfortunately, you take a week off in this game and a lot happens. So we got a lot to talk about tonight. We got about like 3 different Inter Miami games to kind of go over. We got a top 10 list. We got a lot to dive in, but it's always fun. Like I said, it's the Vice City FC podcast. I'm your boy Larry Fresh, aka the Big Lemon. I like that name. That I forgot who gave me that one the other day. So I was like, I like that. That'll stick with it. And join here with the one, the only, the voice, La Voz de Inter Miami here,
Good
one and only
evening.
Chavi Guerrero.
Good evening, everybody. Good Monday
Yeah,
evening, Victory Monday evening.
yeah, definitely a better atmosphere, a better vibe, a nice fresh scent of winning and victory in the air today. So we'll dive into it. We'll dive into it. Like I said, we had a Rapids game that happened since the last time we were on. Basically, the last time we were on was NYCFC. Was after that game where we had to draw. So then we've had a lot of little things happen since then. We'll dive into it, but like it's we're gonna try to do it and make it a little more customary. Let's dive into the MLS, the official Lemon City Live MLS Power Rankings after Match Day 9. This whole list was created and curated by yours truly, Chavi Guerrero. So any complaints, issues, anything that you have that's a dissatisfaction with the list, be sure to hit him up on Twitter at XGLavos. So, Chavi, you
How
see your
can you,
boy right there, Ricky Pooch, right at the front, man.
how can you
Feeling
complain if
good about it?
you got Pretty Ricky right there? Can't complain
Pretty
about that.
Ricky's Pretty
That's
Ricky's
it.
looking pretty good. Let me see here. I think oh man, hold on. I had it up here. My apologies that I'm not prepared here. There we go. I think Pretty Ricky, Pretty Ricky and Inter Miami and the New York Red Bulls all have 15 points and are tops in the Supporter Shield rankings right now. So it's not bad, man. Pretty good. I gotta say, I'm pleasantly surprised with the performance from LA Galaxy. You've been riding the Galaxy train
The- After the
for
first
quite a
game,
few
remember
weeks.
when they tied,
Yeah,
when Inter Miami tied up there, I said that it was a great point away from home against a team that's going to give it's going to be a really good team. At least it looked that way from that first game based on the new players they brought in and Pretty Ricky, looking like he was a step better than last season, and he was really good last season. So they're
yeah.
showing
No,
they're
no,
showing they got something. They got a little shine.
they definitely do. And like we do on the power rankings here, we keep it real. These are very active power rankings. These fluctuate from week to week based on your recent performance here. And looking at the Galaxy, they had a big game against a prior team that's currently still in the top 5, but was I think top 3 last week. Vancouver. They had a game in Vancouver where they won 3-1. So, hey,
Big
you get a
big
nice
win.
big victory like that. That's gonna bump you up in the power rankings. You got number 2. We got Red Bulls, who didn't lose, but I think they had. Let me see here. They had a quality draw. Oh no, well 0-0 draw at home against Chicago. So you can't penalize a team for a draw. A draw is still a point, but I think the Galaxy definitely that victory weighs a little heavier, and for this week we can bump them up to number
There's,
1 status. And
there's,
then you
there's
got
yeah. Go ahead. No,
you're saying
with
sorry, sorry.
yeah, with the Galaxy, there's two big factors there. They had to fly long, flight over to Canada. It's not an easy
Mm-hmm.
flight, and then they went there and they performed well,
Yeah.
and they put a beat down on the team 3-1 on a really good Vancouver team. So that they're shining right now. It's their moment.
Yep. No, LA Galaxy in their last 5 games have 3 wins, a draw, and a loss. So that's a nice little run of form there. The Red Bulls, which you got here in their last 5 here, they're let me see here. What's their last 5 record? They got 2 wins, 2 draws, and a loss. And then your big jump of the week here, Inter Miami, giving them a lot of weight in that victory in Arrowhead in front of 72,610 people, but who's counting? You're giving them a lot there to bump them up. So, okay. Feeling pretty
The
good about
bump,
it.
yeah, well, the bump. You got a healthy Messi. You have him. Another game where he looks like he's fit. He performed fantastic, right? With a amazing throw back the clock Barcelona days vintage
Yeah.
goal. He gave a spectacular assist. Overall, played well. You have Kramaski coming back. Negri back again. You start getting the team little pieces start coming back, and if you have a healthy Messi, then I think the team's primed for a little run.
Yeah. It's kind of gross when Messi's good, how much better he is than a lot of people still at this age, right? It's just
That,
like,
that's what I was going to tell you. Imagine how many levels he was ahead. He's 36, right? He's 36, he'll be 37.
yeah,
Imagine between the age of 25 to 29, like how
yeah.
much better he was than everybody. Imagine if he was a 25-year-old Messi was playing now. He'd probably have
Oh,
3 goals a game, maybe. You know,
yeah.
and
Crazy to think,
that's
man.
kind of exaggerating, but it's true based on the performances that he had before. I mean, that was commonplace for him to have hat tricks, games where he had
Yeah,
four, games where he had two. Like every game, it seemed like he scored at least one or two. So it
yeah.
wouldn't be surprising if he did that in MLS. In his prime, he'd have three a game. So it's just
Well, you
fantastic.
mentioned, yeah, you mentioned hat trick. We're all waiting for that first Inter Miami hat trick. Do you think? Because at his age, as good as he is,
He'll
and
have it at
everything, he's
least
had a
once.
couple of.
He'll have at
You
least
think
one.
he'll get a hat trick at least once this season?
Yeah, you get
Yeah.
give up a couple it's going to be one of those free kick, penalty, and a vintage rip.
Okay. All right. So if I give you the over under of
Uh-oh.
Messi hat tricks this season, and I put it at 1.5,
Oh,
are you taking the over
there-
or the
there's
under
still
there?
there's still there's still 20 something games left. Man, but that's tough. It's tough because he doesn't run like he used to. So
Uh huh.
he's looking more to put, other people to play, but he can easily have
Yeah.
a nice game and score. So I would take the over, just being
Ooh.
a risk taker, thinking that out of 25 games left, I'm gonna say uh,
You'll
he
get a
can do
couple of them.
he can do it twice.
All right.
It,
I
it's a
like that.
big
I like that.
it's a big deal. It's a big deal. But I'm just gonna have faith in the guy.
What about Luisito? I think Pistolero. Who has a better chance? Is it Suarez just because of the natural position that he plays, just poaching?
It should be. It should be. It
Yeah,
should be him. It should be him. And Messi should give him the 3 assists. So,
yeah, that should be it. It's so gross to
and
see them when they're clicking and they're playing so well. It's so much fun.
absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So let's keep going here on the list here. So we got Vancouver at 4. They obviously we talked about their loss against the Galaxy. But then let's go 5, 6, 7. You got Philly still riding high. Philadelphia is God. They're just such
Un-
a good franchise.
Very
You
solid. Very
know,
solid. They're still the only
very very
undefeated,
solid.
I believe. Yeah.
Oh, that's a good. Yeah, they're the only undefeated. They're 3 wins and 4 draws. Yeah, and they're coming this week. They had a draw, but they were coming off the heels of 3 straight wins. So yeah, that's Philadelphia, man. You can never count them out. That's just such a
Oh,
well-run organization. Columbus has been slipping a little bit. They had a loss and 3 straight draws since the loss, so they've kind of been stuck in that gear where they haven't been able to turn it on.
yeah,
But
they
they
had some
won.
issues, some internal issues. I mean,
Yeah,
Cucho was I guess suspended, if you want to say. No one really knows what's going on. So I
yeah. It was a
I
little.
venture to say that has a little bit of a cloud on the team.
No, yeah, it does. It does. But you know what? When it matters, they performed and they took out Tigres, and now they're advancing. They're the last MLS team left in
They're our only
uh.
hope. They're our only hope.
They're
Luke
all
Skywalker, you're my only hope.
yeah, man. Cucho Skywalker over there.
Cucho
All right, and then you got I think the big surprise here is FC Cincinnati. Couple of bad
slipping,
losses in
slipping.
back-to-back weeks. Before that, they had a draw. And they're a powerhouse team, but man, they're struggling as of late the last 3 games here. And that's not taken into account in those 3 losses. There are 2 losses that they had in the Champions Cup as well to Monterrey, and their old striker, Brandon Vasquez, which we'll talk more about in a little bit. But man, Cincinnati, I'm a little surprised. I
Well,
think we're giving them a lot of credit still because of their early
benefit.
success and their
We're giving them
early,
the benefit of
yeah,
doubt.
yeah.
Yeah.
They still got
And
some equity with us, but
they have the MVP, the reigning league MVP. At any moment, he could possibly turn it on and get that team going again. They have the pieces there, so it's not
yeah.
performing right now. That they're sinking in the rankings, but they're still one of the top teams in the league.
Yeah. And then rounding out your top 10 here, we got three West Coast teams, three Western Conference teams. You got RSL, Houston, and Colorado here. Houston has been turning it on. They got 4 wins out of their last 5. They're creeping back up the rankings here. Colorado, which I thought Colorado, surprisingly, looking at their numbers here, they got 2 wins and a draw in their last 3. Um, I thought that team on paper looked pretty dangerous. With Zach Steffen at goalie, Jordy Mihalovic, which was another former or still U.S. men's national team player, up at striker. Colorado has former, I believe the coach is Mastroni, right? Who used to be Miami Fusion guy back in the day.
Back in the day,
So yeah,
Fusion
man.
legend,
So
Fusion legend.
Fusion legend. Yep, let me get it right. So I like what they're doing over there in Colorado, and it looks like it's starting to click here. They weren't a very good team last season, but this season they've added some nice pieces to complement what they're doing, and let's see if they continue to rise. They make their debut on the list here at number 10. So I gotta hand it to you. I like where you're going with it. I like your thinking on the list here, and I'm okay. I don't have any arguments with your picks here. I think Galaxy, Red Bull, and Miami. Those are probably the 3 strongest teams in the league right now.
And you like the picture of Pretty Ricky with that little aura around him. He has a
Oh
little
yeah,
glow.
bro. Man, I got to take care of Pretty Ricky, man. And then he's dropping to LA. I like that. So good for them. I look, whether you're an LAFC guy or an LA Galaxy guy, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, if one of the LA teams or both of them are doing well, then the league's doing well. You know what I mean?
Uh,
Because they're just that kind of powerful franchises that really bring a lot of very good warranted attention to the league and to the product, which is always great. So, hey man, and we can't really hate too much on the Galaxy because the owner of Inter Miami is a Galaxy
they, they,
legend. You know
they,
what I'm saying?
he
So
came
we
here.
gotta have a little.
He came here by way of Galaxy, so indirectly they gave us a big hand. So yeah,
Yeah.
we're all right.
So we can't hate too much on it. We can't hate too much on it. But anyway, that's our MLS power rankings after week 9. So again, any issues that you got, take it up with that guy right there at XG Lavos on Twitter. But let's get to it, man. Let's talk Inter Miami here. Let's switch it up. Let's put our focus back on the home team here. Um, Let me see. What's our last? So since we last had a show, we've had 4 games. We had the first Monterrey game, which was 1-2 without Messi, that we lost here at home. That was a tough one to swallow. But all right, we kept saying, all right, we only lost by a goal, and it was a late goal that we gave up. The silly mistakes here, and it was without Messi. We felt pretty good going into that second game in Monterrey, and then that was just,
A
man,
disaster,
like that.
a shit
Is
show.
that is that the closest that you could say this season is to rock bottom? Was that feeling because of the people and the talent that we had on the pitch that day and the result that came from it?
Absolutely. Everybody was hyped. Everybody was prepared for Messi and the Fantastics to go in and start a winning tradition, a winning history to write,
Yeah.
to something awesome for Miami. And it didn't it didn't work out that way. They were pretty much quiet, all of them, during the match. Monterrey was a better team, dominated the match, and
Yeah.
Miami just the Herons laid an egg in Monterrey. They they just weren't very good.
Yeah, it was very, very not good. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and I don't like to shine a focus on players when they're struggling, but you have to. You got to bring it up and you got to talk about it sometimes.
We talk about
And
them when
right
they're doing
now,
good.
yeah, exactly. It works both ways here. But if there's one guy right now, let me see if we're on the same page here. Let me see, because we haven't talked about this. But who are you the most worried about right now? That's a regular starting 11 guy here.
You know,
Who
you
are
know
you
that
the most
mentally.
worried about?
You're talking about my boy Drake.
Yep. See, bro, look at that,
We're
man.
talking
On the
about
same
Barbara
page,
Break
bro.
because he looks. It's not. It's to you, to me. It's to you, to me, and to everybody who's followed this team, who's seen his
Yeah.
rise. Because the Drake Calendar story with Inter Miami is beautiful. It's amazing.
Yes.
From a third team to national team now to being a star in the league. This season, his mental, it's just you feel like he's not. There's something, a focus, something's wrong. And I don't want to say that when Yedlin left, like it affected him emotionally or psychologically. I don't know. And I hope that's not the case. Maybe he's just going through
Yeah.
a rut. He's in a rut, but he's not been as good. He's not been very good. Obviously, with his feet, he's regressed. I tweeted that out. This week. He before at least it was decent. He made some
Yeah.
decent passes, and if he would kick it out, it'd be close to the player. Now he's like booting the ball, and it's just going straight to the opposing player. No, no, it's not him. It's not his typical high level of play, and something's lacking. And hopefully, he's able to turn it around because the team definitely needs Super Drake back.
Yeah, see, we're on the exact same page here. It's frustrating because of the regression. One thing is a guy who was like, we were waiting to develop but just couldn't put it together. Like we can make excuses for, it, but this is like a very big regression from the part of talent wise and skill level and just like you say all the time, silly mistakes, man. It's a lot of that stuff and I'm watching the game now, not having the confidence in him to make the save when we need the save. And then I'm also like just wrecking my brain trying to figure out why would he do such a thing, like just very questionable plays that are becoming way too normal, man. I want my goalkeepers to just be non-memorable. Just go in there, make your saves, and just be efficient. You know what I'm saying? Don't make mistakes. As the former goalie of the best Sunday rec team that we had in Kendall, okay, I know that whenever a goal happens, it doesn't matter if a guy weaved his way through with the other 10 people on the pitch. If he got it past the goalie, it's always the goalie's fault. So I understand. I
It was
understand that
always
the
your
goalie.
fault. It
It
was
was
always your
always my
fault.
fault. It was always
La
Latanga's
tanga,
fault.
la
So
tanga.
and I understand that, but man, it's very frustrating when you see it at this level, man. Going back to that Monterey game, that pass,
How do you
like,
start a game in that manner when you
oh
know you're coming in and you have to be laser focused? You cannot
yeah,
make, you have to be mistake free. You have to get that early goal to get even, to get the momentum going, to then have the opportunity to score a second and to eliminate this team in their house. But you come in and you're a heron and you laid a goose egg. I mean, how are you going to pass? How are you going to pass the ball to Busquets, who Busquets has looked like he's lost half a step this season? Not criticizing
I
the legend. I'm not criticizing the legend
yeah,
because he's still the
yeah,
legend, but he looks half a step slow.
he
How are
does.
you going to give that man a pass with the guy right on him and two guys closing in? It was a terrible decision, but I feel that, and I think that some of these younger guys are deferring to Messi and the Fantastics in moments where you can't defer. You have to take action, and that has to be taken out of them. I mean, if I have the ball, and I saw it
Yeah.
not just with Drake, but other players. If I have the ball and Messi's 5 feet away, but he's got three people on his back, I'm not going to give it to you. There was a play
Yes.
where Gresso had the ball. Messi was 5 feet away from him with three guys on top of him. And he had, I don't remember who it was, if it was Cello or somebody on the right flank. Right. All he had to do was turn this way to give
Yeah.
it off. Easy. No, he gives it to Messi with three guys. And what does Messi do? Because Messi's fantastic. Boom, bobs, boom, gets out of the three guys and just
Yeah.
toe pokes it to the guy on the right flank where it should have been from the beginning.
Exactly.
So
Mm-hmm.
I'm seeing this and I'm not liking it. I understand Busquets is the one that comes out with the ball, but man, that was a killer. The moment you saw
Yeah.
that, you knew it was going to be a long night, right? You wanted to hope that they could turn around, but the moment you saw that, you were like, oh no,
Yeah, man.
not
That sucked the
tonight.
energy. Yeah, that really like just took the life out of the team. Even though in reality it didn't matter because we still needed 2 goals to at least force extra time or to win. You know what I mean? We still had to score 2 goals. So them so us giving up that goal at that time, it didn't really eliminate us. It wasn't the heartbreak dagger that it was,
No,
but
it
it
would
was
end it 2-1 as pens, or extra time and then pens, but
yeah.
it just it
But
took
the way it was given up is just soul
it
crushing,
left
just
it took the breath out of you.
yeah, man. And it's I I think, and going back to what you're talking about Busquets, I have noticed it as well. He's a half a step slower, but he's still like 3 steps better than most.
Oh,
I'm
absolutely,
still giving,
absolutely.
you know what I'm saying? But I think, and I feel like I've noticed it more since the subtraction of Redondo,
Obviously,
of our boy
I'm glad you
Fetty
brought him
Round,
up. I'm glad you brought him up because Fetty Round and Diego Gomez side by side with the Maestro in the middle is a whole different story, because now the
It
Maestro
is.
doesn't have to run all over the place, and now the Maestro doesn't have to get every single ball, because you know
Yeah.
who's not going to defer. You know who's not going to defer to Busquets? Fetty Mound. Fetty Mound's not going to
Yeah.
get a ball and say, "Oh, where's Busquets? Let me give it to you." No, and he's
No.
not. So that's missing. And you know what? Diego Gomez right now is playing at a very high level, back and forth, box to box, fantastic. He still has, technical wise, to grow a little bit, but he's been
Mhm.
fantastic. He's been fantastic.
Oh
Even
yeah.
in the games that he hasn't been great, he's been that engine, that little engine
Yeah.
that could. He doesn't stop. He keeps going. He gives you his passion. He gives it, and he's assisting. He's
Yeah.
assisting people. Do you believe that? This guy
Oh, I'm
is
telling you, if we do player power rankings for Inter Miami, he's definitely every week he's just climbing and climbing and climbing and climbing. You know what I mean? Like I've been
he's up
impressed.
there.
I've been
He's
impressed.
up there.
I
He's
was
up there.
I was I was a little critical of him last season, and I
Everybody
know it.
except your boy was, but that's okay. I don't like to
I know.
toot
I
my own
know.
horn. I don't like to toot my own
Oh,
horn, but you know what I think it is. You know what I think it is, and I've noticed, because I'll say some things, but then I kind of like listen to what other people are saying and why they're criticizing it, and what I think is that people don't remember it's a 19-year-old kid coming from
yeah.
a foreign, different language, on his own, and he looked like he was a little nervous, trying to feel his way at the beginning. But I look at his potential. I look at his, physically, he was big, fast, strong, had a good
Yeah.
kick. I said, okay, and then I see that he has a more than he wants to play. Okay, there might be something there. I don't think he's terrible. Let's give him a chance. And thank goodness, because look, he's playing fantastic, and I believe
Look.
he has an even higher level to go.
Yeah. I agree with that part, but you know what? We're also
What?
talking about a sport. We're also talking about a sport where guys be turned pro at like 16 and they're expected
You're
already to be
talking
great. And
about
we've
the you're
seen
talking now. You're talking about the
eh,
elite players. You're talking about
okay,
historic players. Come on.
but look, let's just say 19 in soccer is not like 19 in baseball or 19 in football. Okay, it's 19 in soccer
Baseball,
goes a little
baseball.
exactly. You know what I'm saying? It goes a little deeper in soccer when you're 19. You're expected. My thing was, I gotta admit, it wasn't the best criticism, but he reminded me at first of like being like the best guy at Sunday soccer. You know what I mean? Like he was just very good. You could tell he had skill, but then he was just making like erratic mistakes that just you don't do in pro soccer. That'll work in Sunday soccer, like going so aggressively and trying to tackle a guy at midfield, and just doing like just the slide tackle when you don't need to, like things like that. That's what he was doing
You had
last
the
season,
Sunday
and that's where
tackle, Sunday
yeah,
Sunday league highlights.
exactly. Like I'm like, dude, you're in MLS now. Like you gotta like polish it up here a little bit. So
Right, you're
he's
right.
done it. He's done it. He's done it. He's come around, and he's obviously, like I said, he's in our power rankings, as our biggest mover here. But I'll admit, I'll admit when I was wrong, but I think I was right at the time. But I admit that doesn't carry over now. But you have been, supporting him and been very patient and full of praise for him,
I think that's what it is. You
since the
have to
get
have
go.
some patience for some of these young
Yeah,
guys. But we expect everybody to come in like Fetty Mound. Fetty Mound came in, and
yeah,
from the very first game, you're like, dude, this is special, right?
yeah,
Not everybody's like that, and I'd say it's somewhere in between, and more towards the Diego Gomez, where some guys take a little time to develop. Some of these
yeah,
guys take time to develop to be good players, and others take a little time to develop to be great players. So we'll see where Diego ends up.
Yeah. I do think when we look at all these like new guys that came in, if we were to say who, not obviously not the Barcelona guys here, but all these other new guys that have come in this new era of Inter Miami, when you look at the young guys that we've called up, the Noah Allens, the Ruiz, the Kramashis, you look at the Fetty Rounds, you look at the Diego Gomez, the Aviles, who else here? Who are some of these other young cats that we've brought in that have, we've kind of sprinkled in different places to do different things. But regardless, I think out of all of them, the one who's kind of just came in and you felt like, wow, that guy's good and he's got it from the jump was Fetty Round. I think he definitely had that. Now, the youngster guys, I thought Kramashi out of those three young guys was the one who was showing it the most. And I think Tata saw that as well
last season by
yeah,
far.
by far. He has it. He just came back this week. Just came back from the injury. Finally got some decent playing time, and hopefully he can be that. I'm not gonna say crutch because I don't think Busquets needs a crutch, but it's nice to have to look over to your side and have somebody there that you can trust or you feel a little bit comfortable with. And I think that Busquets looking over there, knowing that last season he went on a run with Kramashi and knows what he's capable of. I think that's gonna with him on one side, and then you got Diego Gomez on the other until Fetty Round gets back. I think that's a good spot to be in, man. And I think we're that on that aspect. I feel pretty good. How about you?
So you're benching Gressel then, is what you're telling me.
I don't know if I'm benching Gressel. I feel like I can move
Where are you
Gressel
gonna
up a
Where are you
little
gonna play
bit.
him?
I
Oh, you're gonna
I
play him
feel like
up
I gotta
for
move him
Taylor?
up.
For Taylor?
No,
Since Taylor's
I feel like
because he can't play on the
yeah, I
right
guess,
because that's where we got Messi.
yeah, I guess you're well. If we go to the three back and then the two wing backs, then maybe we can do something like that. All right, so let's
You're
just
gonna
say,
continue that. You're gonna continue with that
yeah,
experiment.
yeah, I think that's probably the best bet. But okay, well, if it's not Kramashi on the right, but if he's coming in and replacing Gressel or replacing one of those things,
Solid.
the point is he's feeling it's a solid play right there for the team. Now you're getting some guys, that are starting. We're starting to see who else came back. Negri's back.
Franco Negri, which I think
Uh,
is a big boost, and thank goodness because look, Alba hurt his hamstring, and now he's probably gonna miss a little bit of time. Um,
yeah,
but Negri came in and he looks like he's in good form. He looks like he's ready to perform. I mean, he
yeah,
already gave Messi an assist. So
yeah, he's looking good now. But when we look at it, let's all right. We're talking a lot about all these other guys. These complementary pieces, these youngsters and
complimentary.
everything. They're all great. They're all fantastic. Those are the fantastics. But let's talk about the real fantastics here, bro. Like I want to know right now how what are we 4, 5, 6, 7? We're like 10 games into the season, right? Somewhere along there. Yeah, match day 9 we just completed. So we had 10 games under the belt, right? How are you feeling as someone who's watched every minute of every game? Someone who's talked to some of these guys, or someone who's talked and asked questions to the coach plenty of times. How are you feeling about? Obviously, we know how you're feeling about Messi. I mean, there's no questions there. But how are you feeling about the rest of the Fantastics as far as their performance now? I mean, we talked a little bit about Sergio Busquets being like a little half step off from what he was last season, but that's normal. But how are you feeling about the rest of the guys?
Okay, obviously Messi is Mr. Fantastic, right?
Mm-hmm.
Assist doing it at this age, still assists and goals, and that goal he just scored, that blast from the past, was gorgeous, and it shows that he still has a little something. He has some juice.
Yeah.
What can you say about Luis Suarez, right? Running around and bum knees, but like that, he's still one of the top producers in MLS. He's assisting and scoring also, right, at a different clip. So he's performing at the level you expect a fantastic player. He's had a little bit of a rut recently, but he's still there, creating havoc. Jordi
Yeah.
Alba. Jordi Alba to me looked like he was the fittest one. He looks like he still has a lot of that spring in his step, going up and down the line. And I think that maybe Tata depended too much on him and he didn't rest him, Like he didn't get
Yeah.
any rest, and then now he might be out for a little bit. So I think he's been performing well. Uh, Busquets is the only one that seems like has lost a little step, but still has done his job admirably. He filled in one game as a center back.
True.
He plays as at the five and still at an amazing level. He's lost half a step, but you know what? He's probably like you said, he's a guy that has probably three steps to lose. So he's still above most players. I think
Yeah.
that ankle injury. I'm still thinking that ankle injury in Japan uh, preseason. He came right into the season still nursing that, and ankles are a pain in the butt. So
Yeah.
I don't know if he's
Nag.
still 100%. Yeah, I don't know because that if you don't rest it, that's going to continue. That's going to continue. So I
Yeah.
don't know if that's been one of the reasons he's been like that. But I still trust him.
Yeah.
He's not the same man he used to be, but I still trust him. So, like you said, man, he's still got some steps to go. So I think that they have performed. But when you talked about complementary, I was gonna stop you for a second and tell you that those complementary pieces are the ones that make the difference if the season is going to be a success or not. Because Messi
Okay.
and the Fantastics can only do so much, right? They can only carry the team so much. The rest of those guys need to perform at a high level and need to do their jobs, and they need to support these guys and get it done. And that's what didn't happen with Monterrey because Tata. You look at the bench. He said you look at the bench, and he didn't sub anybody, right? Because he looked at the bench. He said the kids weren't ready. And
Yeah.
I think they were because if you remember the first game, he threw out a crazy lineup that everybody's like, "What the hell is this?" Bordelin on the right side, and those guys played to a 1-0, right? At the half, they
Yeah.
started super slow, but they didn't let Monterrey come in. Their intensity, Monterrey had to make subs, make some adjustments, and only after Ruiz got red carded did they revert the game. So
Yeah.
I think that didn't give them enough credit. I think that the young kids played well
Okay.
enough to deserve an opportunity in that game also in the second game. To
Yeah.
provide energy and spark and fight. Uh, and that's those guys are the complementary ones are the ones that are going to make the difference for this team. Those guys need to step up their level.
I mean, I think you're right about that, but that's the problem when you're playing with this big target on your back. When you're playing with this big micro what do you call it? Uh, lens on you that's magnifying everything that you do. As good as those guys are playing, it takes one silly mistake by Ruiz to kind of sour it for everybody, and that's what everybody's gonna remember. That's what Tata's gonna remember is that a young guy messed it up for me. And
Silly
it's hard to
mistakes.
separate those things. Yeah, it's hard to separate those things, and those silly mistakes come back and haunt you. I'm looking at the stat leaders here in MLS. Do you know who leads the league in goals scored?
Chicho.
Chicho, Christian Benteke, Dejan Jovic, Luis Morgan, and Luis Suarez are all tied at 6 goals. How about that, man? Luis
So God,
Suarez at his age. You know what's been the most impressive to me about Luis Suarez?
what's that?
And I have something that I can actually compare it to
What's
because
that?
I look at when we had your boy Higuain on the team, and there was something that drove me crazy about Higuain, which we talked about plenty of times, which was his body language. He had very bad demeanor when he was tired, when things weren't going his way, and I
But he
can
was
understand
grumpy.
he
He was
wasn't.
grumpy. He was grumpy. He was grumpy.
Yeah, he wasn't playing with Messi, obviously, and he wasn't playing with the Fantastics and all that stuff. I mean, he's a Madrid guy anyway, so he wasn't playing with those pieces around him, so it wasn't the same. So he was asked to do a little more, but you would see him gassed late in the games, or
Yeah.
sometimes 60 minutes in, you see him gassed. I'm surprised at the stamina levels of Luis Suarez. Like I know sometimes, yeah, you're gonna see him and you're like, it's late in the game, and you're like, all right, he's probably tired, but I
He
don't know.
makes it
Maybe it's
sprint.
me. Maybe I'm not seeing, but he looks like he's still keeping up, right? Like I'm just surprised at how much he's running and he's going after balls. And I mean, sometimes he bitches and complains a little too much. And then there was that shove, and everybody was like talking about, hey, don't forget, this is the same guy who bit a player. So we go
Right.
back to the history that Luis Suarez has. Like we're trying to contain that monster that lives inside of him. But hey, whatever it is, that was in the past. I don't think he's gonna blow up this now, right? But I
Hopefully,
have been genuinely and pleasantly surprised at how he's been
his
able to
fitness
keep
level.
up.
his fitness level.
Yeah,
Remember, he came from Brazil. Top was MVP of the league, a league that's faster paced and a better league overall than this one. And he was amazing there. So that's why when he came, I said, hey, I only expect good things. I only expect big things from this guy. He scored everywhere he's gone. But the very first practice that we were able to access, and I saw him in person, I said, man, he looks fit and he looks healthy. I remember, mentioning that, and he has been. Thank goodness, cross your fingers, keep it that he stays like that, because once this 37, well, how old is he now? This guy with one knee, if God forbid he
yeah,
gets hurt, who do you turn to? You have to turn to Borderland, I guess, now, because Campapi's hurt again.
yeah. Campapi's on my shit list, bro. Campapi, I don't even want to. This is the
What are
last
we
time we
gonna
say
do?
his name on
What
the
are we
show.
gonna do with Campapi and Robbie? That could have been our power two right there. The young guys running potential, fast guys
But
can do this, that, but they're always hurt. They're always
at
hurt.
least with Robbie, they're hurt. But like Campapi hasn't always been hurt. He's been
He's
on there
always
and he's
hurt,
just
bro.
been
He's
a
always hurt.
non-factor.
He
If
comes
he's
in,
hurt
plays a
behind the
few games,
scenes,
and he's hurt. He comes in and gets
yeah,
hurt.
I don't know, man. Trade him for fucking bag of soccer
Gam
balls or something, or
for some gam.
some game. Yeah, I mean, honestly, right now with him and Robbie, basically essentially being the same thing, just a what if on the bench. Like, hey, what if he's healthy? Maybe he could do this, because that's all that we're gonna get
So much
from
potential,
both of
so
them
much
right now.
potential, so much potential from those two guys, and they're still young. The thing is that they're still
Yeah,
young. Well, young meaning that they're not 30, close to their 30s yet. But in
yeah, yeah,
soccer
yeah.
years, they're not. In soccer years, they're not young anymore. I mean, you said it right. 19. It's true. It's
Yeah,
24, 25.
exactly.
These guys should have already started being producers. Like, if you're a real estate agent, you're a top producer. These guys should be top producers, and they're not. They're
Yeah.
they're right now they're not there. They're just like average, average, and that's not what expected from those guys.
No, it's a bad look when you got these two guys just taking up spots on your bench, and you're just hoping like, well, what could they have been? Remember when we had Lewis Morgan? Man, we let the wrong guy go, didn't we? We should have gotten
But
rid
that
of
was
the other
that was
guy.
but that was because of the sanctions, and then they needed
Oh yeah,
$1 million,
no,
and
no,
they
no.
didn't want to do it. And I'm sure under the table
Uh,
the league told them, you guys better get rid of this guy, and
yeah,
because
it
if
just
not, if
and
not, we're
I'm
gonna go
happy for
harder
Lewis.
on you.
Yeah, and I'm
It's
happy for
been
Lewis.
great
He's
for
doing
his career.
great.
It's been great for his career. It's been great for his
Great for his
career,
career, but
and they love him in New York just like they loved him
yeah,
here.
yeah. And Carranza's another guy. It just we look back at
No,
those
no, no,
things and
no.
we're like, man,
Don't do that. Don't
but
do that to me. Don't do that to me, because you're gonna make me go into nostalgia mode, and then you're gonna make me go back and think of the Florida Marlins, where I'm thinking, oh man, Eric Lee's over here, and Cabrera's over here, and this pitcher's over here, and this guy's over here. And imagine if we had them all together. Oh Lord. Well,
oh
I don't want to
man,
imagine that. I don't want to imagine
what a
that, because
great time.
all we can say is, at least they scouted good players, and they brought them in, and unfortunately they couldn't keep them. Right? They couldn't keep them.
Yeah, that's all we can do is just reminisce on the what ifs and then look at our bench and be like, well, there's those
Uh,
guys.
from the from the X to the next, man. No more reminisce for me. I need the guys. We have the strongest team Inter Miami has ever had. You have a top coach.
Yeah,
For all the standards you want to put, he's considered a top coach. And now's the time. Whatever happened,
yeah,
happened. You have enough talent on this team to do better, that they're doing right now. Even though we're expecting, all right, they're in the top spot, but it should look more solid, more fluid, more stronger,
yeah,
more cohesive. It doesn't look that way yet, and it should be where mistakes are minimal. One stupid mistake every 5 games, perhaps. Not
yeah.
one stupid mistake a
That's
game,
generous.
which is what's happening.
That's
Yeah.
generous. Yeah. No, and you're right. It's been the silly mistakes per game here, and it goes back to what we talked about at the beginning. Who's been the most frustrating, the most disappointing right now. Starts at the back. But if we work our way forward here, we need some of these guys to get healthy again. We need Kristoff back. We need some of these other dudes to come back. We like I said, we need Kramashi to find that form that he had during Leagues Cup and at the end of
Yeah.
last season. We need that guy back, and hopefully he's there. We need Robbie, and I mean, if at some point Robbie and Campana just figure it out, just stay healthy enough, just even if it's just as a super sub right now, like we can't
That's
even
all they
count on
need
them
to
to
be.
sub hard.
All they need to be. All we need is 25 minutes from those guys. You
Yeah,
know,
man. Oh,
learn your role, play your role, come in, score, assist, do what you need to do, make a difference in the game. Just like those guys from Monterrey when they came in and they
yeah.
made a difference in the game. That's what you need from these guys.
But going back to these stats here that I was looking at. So we talked about Luis Suarez being, up there with goals. Right, one off the pace of the leader is Messi, who hasn't played a few games and is still, right up there, number two in goals with 5 on the season already. I do think that both of them will end up pretty confidently. I'll say that both of them will end up with double figures, hopefully in the high,
And those, yeah,
above 15 or something like that. Now here's the part where I was kind of genuinely surprised, which is the sharing of the ball, which is a nice thing to see here with your boy Diego Gomez and Julian Gressel sitting there with 5. Oh, and Messi too. All 3 of them with 5 assists, one off the league leader in Van Zier with the Red Bulls with
the
6.
offensive
So
categories. Inter Miami is looking great on all those offensive categories, and we figured as such, right? So what's
yeah,
happening? There needs to be a balance. Defense wins championships. It doesn't matter what sport you play. It doesn't matter what sport
yeah,
you play because once you're in the playoff, once you're in championship games, it gets tighter. The spaces, the referees blow it different, right? There's a little more contact. So the defense, Inter Miami's defense needs to tighten up. They have time to do it. I think they have enough. I know everybody knocks them, says that they're terrible. I don't think they're
yeah.
terrible. I don't think they're terrible MLS players.
They're
I think
not
they're
good.
good enough. Well, right now the stats show that they're not right. So, but I think
Not at
that there's
all.
enough. I think there's enough there to be much better than what they are. And that's all they need. It's
Okay.
just to be better. They just need to be better.
They need to be better. They need to be better, like our boy Gunther says. All right, so let's talk about what we got to look forward to. Well, let's actually before we dive into look forward here, because I do want to talk about this weekend's matchup. But let's take one quick second here. What was your favorite thing to see this weekend besides 72,000 screaming fans there? How cool was that? Playing at a stadium. You saw the players going to meet Patrick Mahomes before the game, and Mahomes meeting Messi. You got like these two goats hanging out and stuff.
My
That
homie,
you gotta love. Yeah, you gotta love it.
absolutely
You gotta love
fantastic.
that crossover effect. It's always fun. But what was for you? We saw the full squad out there. We saw some flashes. I was pretty impressed with the fact that we were able to. I mean, the play of the game was obviously Diego Gomez late in the game there with that steal, pressing on the right back there, stealing the ball and then feeding it across. I don't know how that ball got to Luis Suarez and the goalie pulled a Drake Callender and just
A
watched the
perfect.
ball go by and then this
No,
guy
no, no.
taps
It
it
was a
in.
perfect three toe tap straight to the
It
guy.
was a great, beautiful,
Perfect.
beautiful, beautiful play. But obviously that was the play of the game, and then you had a vintage Messi goal in there as well. You had a vintage Messi assist, vintage Messi goal, and then you had a great, fantastic setup for the third goal, which was finished off by Luis Suarez. So you had the full Barcelona effect in the game. You had the national spotlight was on you. Although, can we talk about real quickly, like man, I don't like that MLS is missing these opportunities. Again, and I'm talking like a homer here, obviously,
Like
because
what?
it's
Like
it's
what?
Messi
Like
in
what?
Miami.
Go ahead. Yeah, you
But
are
like
home.
that game should have been on TV. That game should have been on TV and should have been watched by like more than just the people on Apple. You know what I'm
Prime
saying?
time.
Like
Prime time.
that game, I know you're trying to keep everything and you're trying to bring people in and you're trying to get these
Yeah, it's
subscribers
not
and
gonna
stuff.
happen.
But man, it just seems like if when you could when these games are, and when you look at the schedule and you see, okay, hey, Kansas City is traditionally a very good team. They're playing at their football stadium, right? They're gonna pack it. 70,000 people expected there. Messi's gonna play. It's not a turf field. Like all these things lined up, man. Like, dude, that should have been must watch TV on Saturday night. Like that should have been everywhere. I don't know. I thought that on that aspect, I thought MLS, like, yo, just make that game free. Make that the game free, not the 2 games on Sunday. Like, all right, fine. You want to do Sunday? Throw an extra game there. I don't think it would. I think that would be a better opportunity to convince more people to jump on board with the Apple TV by giving them, a very prime matchup. And then when you look at, and I'm also playing scoreboard here, which is I'm looking at the final score and seeing what a great game it was. And like, you messed up. You should have done this. It could have been a 0-0 draw, but I still would have said the same thing. I mean, I still would have said, hey, this was a missed opportunity. You got to give the people what they want. And Messi fever is happening. You got to jump on it. You got to make these games a little more accessible for the fans. But anyway, uh, my favorite thing about this weekend's game was one, the comeback, the fact that we faced a little adversity, we gave up, the lead, we came back, we took the lead late in the game. I thought that was a good sign of the team coming together. But like I said, it's the Messi goal, it's the Messi assist, and it's the great play at the end and the finish by Luis Suarez. Like, man, that's all you want right there. As a Miami fan, as an Inter Miami fan, as an old Barcelona fan, whatever you are, just a fan of the game. Like, you watch that game, you left happy, unless you were a Kansas City fan. But even then, I think if you were at the game, you still were like, "Yo, this is pretty damn cool," right?
They pan in some of the videos. They pan after he scores, and you see the Miami people cheering. But you see some. I'm sure they don't want to be caught on camera, but you see some of Kansas City people going like, like say, "Wow, what
Yeah,
a goal!" Because you're
telling
watching,
you,
you're watching
yeah,
greatness. You're watching greatness. You came to see him. You came to see
yep,
him, and he gave you a goal that said, "Oh man, this is how he used to do it in Barcelona. This is how he used to do
yep,
it when he was like the terror, and he's still terror, world terror, like scoring goals. That season when he scored like 91, 90 goals,
yeah,
it was like
yep,
that. He was just blasting them from everywhere and going in. It was beautiful. It was the people left and they got what they paid to see. They went, they felt entertained. The team lost, but they're still happy that they saw greatness. And that's what I think a lot of teams don't understand. That, oh, why are they always Messi? Why is it always Messi? This, Messi that? It's because he is the guy. He is the guy everybody wants to see. Everybody wants to
yeah,
see, and even the players, want to shake his hand after the game. During the game, they kick him and do whatever. But there's that respect and admiration for someone that's done or is doing something that no one else in the history of the sport has done. No one has put up
yeah,
those stats and those numbers and been that great, and been that humble and nice, right?
yeah.
I can't remember of anybody like that ever in any sport.
Now, I think also maybe that humility and that humbleness that we're talking about is also a little bit of a detriment too, man. Because every single game we're getting these pitch invaders over and over and over. Like, dude, stay in the stands, man. Like, you want a selfie with Messi, and Messi every time he doesn't like run away from it. He'll just like acknowledge a fan, even poses for the picture. But like, we got to stop this, man. Like, this is just too much already. Like, you're running onto the pitch. It's not worth getting kicked out and all that stuff for a selfie. Bro, just take one of these previously taken selfies and Photoshop your face in it, man. And that way you can still go back to the game and still watch it and do all this stuff. Like, why are you risking not being able to go to games? It's not worth it. Like, to run out there, get tackled, get arrested, have a record. Oh, but I got a selfie. I don't know. I doesn't make sense to me. Maybe Messi's got to be a little bit more of a dick to people too. Like when they come up to him, so they stop. But it is ridiculous. It's very ridiculous because it's getting out of hand. Every game, it's just like 3 or 4 a game. It feels like, you know what I'm saying? Like, people just running out there, and it's like, all right, well, hold on, time. All right, they're off the field. Okay,
You gotta, you
resume.
gotta,
Like,
you
come
gotta,
on.
you gotta put your security group on task on those things, man. They're
Yeah,
sleeping.
man.
They always find that little area where they're able to
Yeah.
creep through. But let me tell you an unpopular thing. Those collars that they put on the dogs with the once they pass a certain area, you're gonna have to collar the fans, man. Collar the fans. Once you're climbing.
Ah,
Oh, yeah, okay, I'm sitting down.
ah. We're gonna have
It's
to
a
start
joke.
treating it like a
It's
hockey
a
game.
joke. It's a joke, guys. What, the hockey game?
Yeah.
The players punch the people come in. It's a joke, guys. It's a joke. Okay, don't write at me now because it's just a joke.
No. I think they get it. But no, I'm telling you, I think it's definitely like, maybe we're gonna have to treat this like a hockey game. Just put up a glass rink around the pitch and have the people just bash on the thing, because this running onto the field is just getting out of hand. It really is. But anyway, all right.
Digress.
Kansas City was a total success. It was a great thing, and something great to build off of. It was a big win, massive 3 points, puts us at the top of the East. We're sitting with at the top, tied with 2 other teams for the Supporter Shield. We're in a good spot right now. That last season at this point, I don't even want to remember how bad it was. You know what I'm saying? Last year at this point, we were just like, man, do we have like 3 points? It was dark times. We're not there anymore. Let's enjoy. Let's build off that momentum. Let's roll into this week. This week we're taking on Nashville. We're back home, right? We're taking on Nashville, which is Nashville. I know we have a rivalry with Orlando, right?
Yes, your answer is yes.
Obviously, it's our our geographical rivalry is Orlando, but is Nashville that other team that's our biggest rival because of the fact that they came out and joined the league at the same time as us, and we faced them in the Cup final, we faced them this year in the Champions Cup, and we took care of them there as well, and now we're facing them again. This is the third time we play Nashville this season.
Yeah, they definitely are our rivals already, just organically. The
Yeah,
Leagues Cup, playing them in important games, and coming
yeah.
in at the same time. You wanna compete. The Miami Heat? They came in with the Orlando Magic, did they? Or was it Magic? Did they come
I
in
think it was.
together, or different years? Different years, but
I think it was
it's kind of
88 and
similar.
89. There was a bunch of teams, yeah,
Right,
that came
right.
in.
So it's a natural rivalry, Orlando Miami, but this is it's just happened organically that it was aligned the stars to happen that way, where Nashville and Inter Miami, just battle it out and play really good, tough games, right? They're very, very tough, very good team, and Miami has gotten the better part of them, lately. But Nashville is a wonderful team. So I do think that's the rivalry. If you're going to tell me, okay, rivals, I'll think Orlando and I'll think Nashville. The New York
Yeah,
team, just because New York hates us and all that other stuff. But
yeah.
natural
That's
rivalry,
always,
it's just New York or Miami. But
yeah,
yeah, Nashville's there. This is gonna be a good game. This is gonna be an important game. At the press conference afterwards, Tata, they asked him about the streak, the winless streak, and all that, and he said that this victory was essential. And when
yeah.
he used, that's the translation in English. He said imprescindible in Spanish, which translates to essential, but kind of it, the meaning is a little distorted. But it was completely essential, because I think if they would have lost this game, Tata was on the hot seat. And
I think
even
so.
though
I think
even
so.
even even with them being up in the standings, you expect more, and it just looked like it was a downward pattern. But he said it was essential for the win. It was essential for the team to realize and remember what it was to win. And I hope that this gets them on a mini streak, like 2-3 games in a row, win, get these points.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think I do think also that had that result not gone his way, we would be having a much different conversation today. Uh, we'd be talking a lot like how we were talking about that Orlando coach, but we're not there. Thankfully, we avoided that, and we're on the right path here. I think we're going to get back on track here. And I'm looking at this Nashville team. It like we said, this is the rival, but I'm noticing here they're coming into this game. Let me see, what is their record right now? Because I was looking, Hani Mukhtar, who's a phenomenal player. He's only played 5 games this season, so he's missed some time.
He's had some
Um,
injuries lately, some injuries issues.
yeah.
He's
So
relatively
let me.
young, so which is weird.
Yeah. So they've won. Man, they haven't won. Okay, so they lost. They were off this past week, so they lost the prior week to Philadelphia. Then they had a 2-2 draw versus Columbus. Then they got smashed 5-0 by LAFC prior to that. So they were coming off a
Yeah, but they
bad
have
string
it,
of
man.
results here.
But they played
So
the top teams. Wow,
yeah,
back
that's
to
a
back to
murderer's
back.
row right there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
back to back to back. That's crazy.
And then before the LAFC game, they had a win, a 2-1 win versus Charlotte, but prior to that, they lost 3-1 to Miami. So, and they played LA Galaxy and Inter Miami. Okay, man, you know what? Nashville has had a horrible luck of bad
And
games
now,
right
and
now.
now they're
So,
coming. Now they're coming home, and Miami needs to build on that victory in Kansas City. So they're going to go out there and try and probably get
yeah.
that W.
Can't sleep. This is a very much a trap. What we would call a trap game here. If we're playing the results here and we're looking at their performance, you'd think, oh, Nashville's struggling, but no, Nashville. They have a chip on their shoulder when they play us. They don't
every
like us.
time,
They
every
don't.
time.
They want to beat us. They're coming off this horrible run of just playing like a brutal schedule of top quality opponents for the last month and a half here. So they're dying to catch us sleeping. Um, this could be a delicate game here. This could be a very, this could be a game that if we don't focus can get away from us. And that's a very good team. That's a very good team with a lot of good players, a good
Yeah,
coach who, if we let it get away from us, we're not getting it back. That's what I'm trying to say, is that if we let it get away from us, we're not going to get it back. That is a very, very good Nashville team here. with that being said here, and as we wrap up the show here, I want to get your prediction for this weekend's game. Give me your final score and any other little tidbits you want to share.
Man, I'm between 2-zip, 3-1. I'm
Okay.
gonna go with a 2-zip to hopefully have the defense perform and give a solid outing, a complete outing. Miami needs to build on the victory. They need to win this
Okay.
game. They need to win it outright. They need to have the guys coming off the bench perform and and put on a show for their home fans. The home fans need that win. They haven't seen it in a
All
while. They
right.
need that win.
I'll give you that, bro. So going 2-0. I'm thinking. I feel like, man, we're riding high. Kramashi's back. We got the Fantastics are playing well. We might be without Alba, but I like who we have in reserve there. I feel like we could still move some pieces around. We're okay. Offense has been our strength here. I'm gonna go 3-1, and I think somebody's getting a hat trick. I'm not gonna say who, but somebody's getting a hat trick.
A
I think this is the
Hattie.
week.
Somebody's getting a
This is
Hattie.
the week. This is the week.
Ah,
Somebody's getting a Hattie. I don't know who, but I feel like I feel it.
a nice
I
Hattie
smell
like
it
the
in the
one you
air.
got there.
Yeah,
Ah,
yeah,
I
nice
like it.
little
I
one
like
of
it.
these bad boys there. So I'm thinking 3-1. I think our defense is still. I don't think we're at a clean sheet level yet, but I think this is a good bounce back game for the defense. We hold it down. I think La Familia is going to be out there supporting, and they're going to be loud. They're going to be raucous. They're going to have a great time,
As
and
always.
I think the fans at Chase Stadium now are going to leave home very very happy with the 3-1 win. So I'll go 3-1. You got 2-0. I think we'll see how it ends up, but I think it's time to wrap it up here. I think we've had a great show here. We'll look forward to talking to you guys again next Monday. We'll be back with another episode of the Vice City FC podcast here at Lemon City Live. Reminding you guys, if you don't follow us already, please just take a second, hit the little like, subscribe button. If you're watching on YouTube, just hit the little like, subscribe, hit the little bell, get notified of future episodes. And if you're not following us, we're Lemon City Live at Lemon City Live on every social media network. So give us a follow. We appreciate it. It goes a long way. So thanks again for everybody who's watching. Thanks again for everybody who's listening on the podcast later. We'll be back next week. Chavi, you have a fantastic rest of your week, and I will talk to you guys next week. Adios,
Adios.
muchachos. Oh, wait. Let me show you. Look, I got a new one. Watch. Hey, confetti for everybody. There you go. How about that? That's pretty cool, right?
Oh, nice.
All right, guys. Adios.
Bye